Today we're going to be talking about the character of Brody Martin in the movie Jaws and how the use of cinematography and acting both contribute greatly while also working together to really create this very believable and very relatable central protagonist. So, Brody Martin, played by Roy Scheider, he is depicted as this very stressed out, very anxious cop throughout the movie who has a lot of pressure on him from being in this new community, from being in this new job. He has a lot of pressure on himself to be really good at this job in this new place, to protect his family and to protect this new community. And Roy Scheider, as an actor, really does a great job of portraying this. Throughout the whole movie, you see this very much in the first act, where he's always seems to be in the middle of some chaos in a crowd where everyone's talking at him or talking to him, and Roy Scheider does a good job of really portraying how this character handles stress and handles pressure from people, of how he kind of doesn't bend, but he very much adapts to the pressure. He very much goes from person to person, trying to do his best to get the whole job done, and that happens throughout the movie. And the camera work always puts Brody at the center of the screen, always the object of attention. Using the rule of three, he's always either in the middle or the left or the right, but he's always closest to the camera, if not second closest, if there's another important character on screen. Now, let's go on to a very specific scene that really does a great job of melding these two aspects together greatly to really portray this character well. In the first shark attack at the beach, where the boy on the yellow raft is unfortunately killed by the shark, Brody Martin is always seen looking at the beach. Roy Scheider does a good job of showing a very clear and serious face that's taut and showing an expression of attentiveness. And the camera does a great job of always putting him putting him closest to the camera whenever you do see him. It always does a good job of showing these other characters talking in the background, but they're the secondary object. Brody is the central object that you need to be paying attention to as an audience. And throughout this whole scene, Roy does a good job of showing how he's acting naturally, or he's acting how a sane father or a concerned father would be in this situation, where he's aware that there's a danger in the water, or there might be something dangerous in the water, and he is going to be paying attention to it the whole time. Now, Roy Scheider does a good job of this, but the cinematography also does a great job with, again, the rule of three, always putting him in the center, doing eyeline cuts to show what he's looking at, to show that he hears someone screaming, shows what the person's screaming, and it flicks back to him understanding that it's not a big threat, and he kind of calms down, but not really. Now, a really important part in this sequence is when he's starting to relax. He sees that the kid's being attacked in the ocean. It does a huge zoom in and close up of his face, and really makes everything else not important. The reaction of Roy Scheider, of Brody Martin, is what you need to be seeing. The camera does a great job of pushing in, bringing the audience right to the character. Now, Roy Scheider's job at creating this relaxed face, now all of a sudden becoming taut and serious again. He does a great job of really selling to the audience that he is now afraid, he is now worried, he is now on the scene. He gets up immediately, he runs to the beach, he runs to the ocean, and always the whole time the camera is making him the center, putting him in the middle, making him the object of attention, something that the audience needs to know that this is the character that we need to pay attention to this whole time whenever you're looking at him. Anytime there's a huge crowd of people starting to gather at the beach, the camera is still focusing on Brody Martin, going across the beach, having these stiff movements, trying to get people out of water. Roy Scheider does another good job of really just selling this stress and very concerned and very needing to keep people safe attitude, with the way he's not necessarily animated, but the way he physically portrays himself, telling people to get out the water, motioning with his arms. He does a good job of feeling natural and believable without feeling outright like he's acting. You can't really tell he's acting. You think this is Brody Martin, not Roy Scheider. You think this is a father and a sheriff who's really looking after this town and looking after the people in the water who are in danger. You're not thinking that this is an actor trying to portray all those things. And I think that's a really good job of being natural and trying these not necessarily new techniques, but these really believable techniques of acting, of being more into the character itself, where Roy Scheider really depicts this sheriff, especially in this sequence, as a very much concerned, always on attention, always on the job. And the cinematography helps a lot with that, as I already said. Always making him the attention on screen, always making sure the audience is aware, and always generally looking at him on screen and nowhere else if he is when he is on screen. Always showing what he's looking at, always showing what he's concerned about. There are a ton more sequences in this film that really show this off, but this is one of the better. This is one of the better ones. One of the most really in depth ones. So yeah.
I got red and white. I didn't know.